Hey, Philip, welcome back again. Hey, David, welcome. Lord Henry, thanks for being here again today. Hey, Mark, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. Yeah, today's gonna be interesting. We're gonna be picking up with some stuff that we started a long time ago and completed today, but we're also going to get into some new stuff as well. And yeah, there's going to be a few fights involved as well, so should be a fun time. Oh, thanks, Mark. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna talk about our city a little bit when we get into the admin notes, like I did yesterday on my stream. I hope everything's going well with you. Hey, Andy, thanks for being here. Good evening to you as well. You're getting confused. I'm the one with 8 different playthroughs going on right now. On the Paladin playthrough, we had last week explored, we'd finished up with the graveyard. We had gone into the Devil's Fee, and we'd gone up on the roof and bartered with Terra, and saw the empty Forge of the Nine because we did not rescue any of the tieflings or Daemon. They all died during Act 2. So today we're going to start off with vendor interactions at the Devil's Fee because there's some good stuff that she sells. We're going to move directly south to Bonecloak's Apothecary, and then we're going to kind of skirt our way around the west side and then to the south side of the first half of the lower city. and that's going to get us into Felogyr mansion. It's going to get us into the Stormshore Armoury, where we can purchase some gear if we can afford it. It's going to get us into Felogyr's fireworks, which we're going to follow up on from Rivington. And we're probably going to have, and we will have some interactions down on the beach or the dock area, the fishing area. And then we may, well, we probably will start Felogyr's mansion and an interaction with an NPC in there. We won't be able to get through that quest, I don't think, today. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we will. But we'll see. There's a lot of stuff going on here in the eastern half of the lower city. There's a lot going on. Yeah, I actually was gonna post, Lord Henry, a YouTube short about it. I went and tested it off stream, and the numbers are really impressive. The strength modifier is tacked on to any additional damage riders that you have as well. So for instance, if you've dipped it and you're causing fire damage with it, you're going to get a plus whatever strength modifier damage on it. If you have multiple sources, like you've dipped it, but it also has the cold from Drakethroat Glaive, or any of the other elementals from Drakethroat Glaive, it adds +5 onto that as well. The only times it doesn't add it is when that damage rider is not part of the weapon itself. So like if you're given that damage rider by a ring, like the caustic ring, and gets you 2 acid damage, it's not going to give you +7, or in my case +7, by adding the +5 strength modifier to it. But if it's added to the weapon, it adds that +5 to all additional damage sources that the weapon has. And it does tack on my charisma modifier as well, because as a packed weapon, it's using that to hit and for damage, and it tacks the strength modifier right on top of it. So, hey, Ostomer, welcome. And yeah, Mark, it went right over all of us. So there's obviously a lot of damage downtown. There's a lot of damage. I'm just, well, don't give out too much identification about my life, but yeah, I'm just a little bit southwest of you, and yeah, there's a lot of damage around us, and yeah, it's going to be a while recovering from it. But yeah, Lord Henry, I just got too busy this week. I do have the recordings. I just didn't really get enough time to edit a video to put it up, to show all the damage numbers from it. It's kind of stupid. Yeah, David, we here in Texas have a saying: if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, it'll change. And that has certainly been the case. And we've had a lot of storms come through. Last year it was never-ending drought that hit us. We had a relatively mild winter. We didn't have any major freezes this year like we did in 2022 and obviously in 2021 when the big one hit. So, hey Rudy, thanks for being here. Astamura, what CRPGs do I recommend similar to BG3? There aren't any that are similar to BG3. The closest, honestly, that you're gonna get if you're familiar with Baldur's Gate 3 and you want something along that, then just go look at the Divinity series. Go look at Divinity Original Sin and the sequel, and Divinity Original Sin 2. They have very similar playstyles, even though the mechanics are different. As in the combat mechanics and that sort of stuff are very different. But go look at that if you're interested in it. It's got a very similar feel to it in essence as this. There aren't a lot of computer role-playing games out there that I recommend. There just aren't. I keep watching out for news on upcoming ones, and there are a few that pop up here and there, but like I say, this set a whole new bar for this genre, and we'll see if anybody else can meet it. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode number 40 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Paladin gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, on admin notes, there isn't anything on the game, but I do, just like I did yesterday, I want to mention a couple of things. The city where I live was recently hit by a really bad storm, and it caused what conservatively right now is in the hundreds of millions of dollars worth of damage to the city, and it's going to be a while recovering. We still have about 20% of the city without any power at all, and for a city that has 2.1 million people in it and over 4 million in the Metroplex, that's a big deal. The weather yesterday, today, throughout the rest of this week is going to be in the 34, 35 degree C range, 93, 94 degrees Fahrenheit range. And for people without power, that is debilitating and possibly deadly. So we've had enough loss of life during the storms, and it's going to take us a while to recover. So my heartfelt well wishes go out to everyone here in my city who's been directly affected by that, whether it be yourself or friends and family, and want everybody to stay safe. At the end of the day, we'll get through it like we always do, like we always have in the past, and H-Town strong is a motto we're going to live by. So I say that also as a lead into the fact that we still have power issues going on, and internet issues especially going on in my area where I live. The power has been fairly stable since the end of the storm. However, we have had a couple of planned outages while they do circuit restructuring and that sort of stuff. But the internet has been the big wild card. Our cable/internet provider here where I live has been having a lot of issues in this area, and we're hoping that I'm going to be able to keep up the bitrate necessary to be streaming here. Yesterday it worked okay. Hopefully it's going to work okay today, but if it doesn't and we have issues, then I may be forced to halt the stream. We're just going to play it by ear and see how it goes. And if we have an issue, we have an issue, and just be assured it's out of my control, and once everything gets corrected, we'll come back to our normal streaming schedule. But let's cross our fingers and hope that we're all going to be okay today. So, on our recap, last week was fairly eventful. We finished up inside the graveyard, and we started adventuring, and we went back to Elfsong Tavern and did some things there. We have now moved south from the graveyard, and we went into the Devil's Fee yesterday, and we explored that. We went up on the roof, we bartered with Tara, and now we're going to start this off by jumping in to look at her items that she's selling, because there's some good stuff here. However, there's some really good stuff in all of the lower city, and we're going to have to be careful in spending our money. But we'll take a look at our stockpiles of gold and see where we are and see what we can and can't afford here. So here we are in the Devil's Fee. Now, there's a lot more that happens in the Devil's Fee, because this is a place where we are going to find a way into the House of Hope, because we made a deal with Raphael. We need to either escape the deal or fulfill that deal, and this location is where we are going to have our way in, so to speak. So there's a lot more that we're going to be doing here inside this location, but we're not going to be exploring all of that today. That's something we are definitely going to come back and do once we are max level and we are fully geared, but not something we're going to explore right now. But we do want to check out Helsik's inventory here.
I welcome thee to the Devil's Fee, where every hellish curio's a rarity. So merry be and shop with glee.
Okay, and here's her inventory, and the main set of stuff she has are these 6 items right through here. You're gonna find the rarer dyes in here. So some of them are really cool. The cobalt and the dark amethyst are nice. Some of the others are very interesting in how they look. But you're going to have access to various dyes that you can repopulate on a level up and that sort of stuff. You're also going to have some of the better crafting ingredients here. You have the Kirin hair for the Potion of Supreme Healing. You have Cloud Giant Fingers for elixirs of Cloud Giant Strength. And the price on these is 72 gold right now. You raise your attitude and that number comes down substantially enough where it's much cheaper to craft elixirs of Cloud Giant Strength using these and a transmutation wizard than it is trying to buy them straight up from somewhere. So this is a great source of these things. You also have a unique item here, the web grenade, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a throwable version of web, and can be very useful for crowd control, especially against lower dexterity characters that may get caught in it and be immobilized. And being flammable is another source of damage as well. But we're here to look at these 6 items, and the first is the Caitiff Staff. Now this gives a +1 bonus to spell save, DC, and spell attack rolls, which is great because spell attack rolls apply to a lot of different things. And the way we have Gale set up with his cold-based build here, that would give us a really good secondary slot to have. And so that's something that we certainly want to look at. It also comes with Caitiff's Restoration, in that you can replenish 1 warlock spell slot. Now, for we'll take a look at that here in a second, but that also gives especially your warlock classes or your warlock dipped classes a class action to get some of those back during combat, as opposed to waiting until your short rest. It is also a standard +2 weapon, but it is fairly cheap and a decent staff for a few different builds. The Hellbeard Halberd is one of the few weapons in the game that deals poison damage by itself. There are only, I think, 6 weapons in and of themselves that do straight up poison damage. So on your, but there are a few items that proc on poison or on poison damage, and this can be a reliable way to help do that and to proc those items. So if you're looking for a poison build, here is one of the better weapons in the game to be able to do it with. The Shapeshifter hat is druid based in that you increase your wild shape charges by 1. This additional charge is restored upon taking a long rest. So once you put it on, take a long rest, you're then going to have that additional shape charge. So can be, again, very useful, especially for your Circle of the Moon Druids, which rely on your wild shape for 90% of the time. The Cloak of the Weave is another really good cloak to have. This adds a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. And these do stack, so if you're able to put this on top of something else, like the Cative Staff, then you can gain significant bonuses to your spell save DC and spell attack rolls. It also comes with Absorb Elements. So if you take fire damage once per short rest, you're going to take half damage from it, so it's like you're automatically passing the saving throw. But if that fire damage is based on a dexterity save, and you save for half damage, then you're going to be taking half of the half, or 1/4 damage. And then your next attack that you make is going to deal 1d6 of whatever that element type was that you were hit with. So it's a way to absorb elemental damage and then reflect it back on the next successful attack. So very, very useful. The Gemini gloves are great, and you can kind of see where some of these are going. Cative Staff gives you a +1 bonus to spell attack rolls. Cloak of the Weave gives you a +1 bonus to spell attack rolls. The Gemini gloves give you an additional target for your cantrips. So a cantrip that targets foes can target an additional creature. The same target can be chosen twice. So it allows you to use your cantrips against multiple targets or to cause increased damage against a single target. And since most of those cantrips are going to be a spell attack roll, the Cloak of the Weave and the Cative Staff come in really, really useful for advancing that ability to hit and to damage. And last is the Spell Seeking Gloves. When you make a spell attack roll, you can spend a sorcery point to gain advantage. This costs 1 sorcery point per spell slot level. So if you're casting a level 4 spell, you can use this. You can use 4 sorcery points to gain advantage on the attack roll for that spell. Makes it very useful to hit with some of the bigger damaging attack roll spells. This spell costs 1 sorcery point per spell level, like I said, but cantrips cost 1 sorcery point. So can be very, very useful in that if you're casting something like Eldritch Blast, that is 1 sorcery point, but you may have 3, 4, 5 rays that come out of that, and you're casting all of those with advantage for only 1 sorcery point. Then you may have additional bonuses to your attack rolls and or an additional target that you can throw those things against. So you're really seeing how these items synergize with each other here. So if you've got advantage on your target, then you're guaranteed to hit more, so that additional damage against a single target for the Gemini, these kind of offset each other because you're obviously not using 2 pairs of gloves at the same time. But if you are looking to spread damage around to multiple targets, then you can use, and they're easy to hit, then the Gemini gloves are the gloves that you're going to use to go into that combat with. So a very interesting set of items here. And if you look at the prices, we'd be interested here, which is 304, 480. So we're looking somewhere around 900 plus another, so 1620 plus another 250. So somewhere around the 2,000 gold mark with her attitude where it is. And if it's over 2,000, and I'm actually going to illustrate it because we are going to do this anyway. So let me just total these up. 304 plus 480 plus 720 plus 256. Okay, so 1,760 gold here that we would be spending for those items. So what we're going to do is...
Now you've seen what I have for thee. Remember, discretion is key at the Devil's Fee.
We're going to head back to our camp. And again, we are at our Elfsong Tavern camp area here. And we're going to recruit Astarion. Actually, Astarion's already in our party.
Don't touch me.
Just to go see if we have any gold sitting in Wither's inventory.
Let's keep to the shadows.
And we do.
Bless the oblivious.
And we've left some in here, so this is going to be harder to do.
What a generous
Okay, so we did get it. Good. We also want to look at our inventory and see if we have any gold in our inventory. So we have 10k sitting in our inventory right now. Available for us to use, which is good, because we're going to be dipping into it a lot today. So we are going to go to Withers.
Seems like a good moment to talk.
Fate spins along as it should.
Dost thou require a new ally? Or mayhaps a resurrection instead?
We're going to change our
As
class.
thou desire.
Okay, now we're starting as a Paladin. The Oath of Vengeance stays. Our ability scores from that stay. And remember, again, we're dumping the strength for now. So we're going to keep the stats we had here. Our original skills are still the same, so we're all fine with this. And we're going to pull out. We've got 25, but we should be enough for now. So we will leave camp. And non-shapeshifted, we're going to go to Helsik.
My most prospective customer. Welcome back.
And we're going to give her 400 gold. Okay, and it's attitude 0. She's now attitude 100. Now, our persuasion is not where it was before we went into this. So we want to
Now you've
level
seen
ourselves
what I
back
have
up.
for thee. Remember, discretion is key at the Devil's Fee.
And you'll kind of see the way that I've gone with this, because again, we're utilizing Balduran's Giant Slayer now. It's equipped, so we went with Great Weapon Master as our choices here. Now, when we get into this again, we're going to have multiple choices because we're dipping fighter as well. So the only ones that really matter to us are defense and great weapon fighting. The preparation of spells I don't care about yet. Hey, again, Paladin level 3, nothing here. Okay, we get our first feat, and we're going with Great Weapon Master. It affects both Ostamura. And here at level 5, we get our Paladin extra attack. And now we're going to start our Warlock dips. Okay, so for our cantrips here, the Great Old One. Our spell selection, we don't want either one of those. Going to gain our first set of Eldritch Invocations. We're going to pick Agonizing Blast and Devil Sight. And for this spell, again, it doesn't really matter. We'll replace these spells here in a second. Right now, actually. For our Pact Boon, we're Pact to the Blade, obviously. For our spells, we're picking Darkness, and then we're going to replace a spell. We're going to remove Dissonant Whispers. And we're going to add in Misty Step. Level 4 Warlock, we're going to get our second feat. And for our second feat, we're going with Savage Attacker. This is just its advantage on the damage rolls, basically. So a straight increase in the amount of damage that we're outputting. Again, our cantrips don't really matter as much for this build. And then for our second one here, we have a couple of different options. Again, I don't think it matters as much here. So yeah, we're fine with those. And then our last level in Warlock gets us our second extra attack, which does stack in anything outside of honor mode. We picked Hunger of Hadar here. We're going to get our last one, or our last Eldritch Invocation, and get us Repelling Blast. And now here, we dip into Fighter, and we get a second fighting style, and for that we're picking Defense, just to up our armor class 1. Archery, dueling, 2-weapon fighting don't apply to us. Protection might if we choose to not focus on two-handed, but right now Defense is the only one that applies to us even, so that's why we're selecting it. Okay, and my persuasion is +9 here, and actually it didn't matter on Paladin. I forgot. Bards gain additional persuasion as you go through the level up process. For Paladins, it doesn't matter. But I do have actually one thing I need to put on
customer. Here. Welcome back.
Oh, no, I don't. So let's talk to Helsik now.
My most perceptive, prospective customer. Welcome back.
Okay, and now those same ones, those same items that we were looking at, total up to be 1,210 gold. You add on the 400 gold that we use to up her attitude, and we get a total of 1,610 gold compared to 1,760 gold, which was our previous purchase price. So we saved 150 gold by raising her attitude. And like I said, the break point is at 1,600 gold. If you're going to be buying items worth 1,600 gold or more, then it is break even at 1,600 gold to raise her attitude and then purchase them. If you're spending any more than that, then you're saving gold. And that's a very useful thing to keep in mind as you go through this, because there's so much stuff here in Act 3 that you want to purchase. So we'll move all of these over, and there's our 1,210. And now we can start clearing out our trash bags. Okay, so we'll just drag over all of these items, and we'll kind of watch our numbers go up, because now that we're getting the increase in prices here, all of these items that we're selling are worth more to her. So that's why you don't sell any of this stuff until you've raised her attitude all up. And you can see we're already getting money back after buying all of her items. And I just need to be careful as I'm going through this. Okay, then we'll move down here. And I don't need any of the printing press stories anymore. So I can sell all of those off. And she has a lot of gold here in her inventory, so... Nope, want to keep the fish in my inventory, because we're going to meet Tara again. The Saloonite robe I need to keep for Gale's change. And now we have some +2 weapons down here that we can sell. Okay, so we do have some stuff in trash bags. Okay, and these are arrows from Astarion, and I think this is our last trash bag. Yes. Alright, so we will balance that offer out, and we're going to end up buying all of her items and getting 4,300 gold in return from her. So, a really positive outcome for us on this. And there might be a few random things still left in here. But I won't spend too much time on inventory management. I'll do that off screen.
Now you've seen what I have for thee. Remember, discretion is key at the Devil's Fee.
Okay, so quickly we want to take some of those items that we've bought. So this is going to become Gale's offhand weapon. That's going to give him a +1 bonus to his spell attack rolls and spell save DC. Gale also does have Warlock spell slots.
You have my attention.
So the Caitiff Restoration ability is going to be able to get one of those back once per long rest, which is a really nice emergency thing to have. For Gale, he does not have sorcery levels, so for him, I'm going to use the Gemini gloves, and we're just going to do testing with this because encrusted with frost is really nice. But I haven't actually tested these out very much, and I want to do that. And then right now he's just using the nymph cloak, which gives him dominate person. The Cloak of the Weave is going to give him much more offensive potential here. So we're going to send a few of these off to camp. Yes. Okay, so that got an upgrade for Gale, basically. So now let's head out, and again, we're going to be coming back here to the Devil's Fee again. But for now, we want to... I guess first, I want to make sure that I get my...
What now? Seek and you shall find me.
There's no time to waste.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Okay, I want to make sure that I get my... Some of these I can send off to camp. I don't need them. Where is... Here it is. Where's the ring? Here it is. And I always forget where the half-orc is. There it is. You don't that I'm aware of. No. It's still showing as packed weapon here in the listing. But when we get into the next set of attacks here, we'll definitely open up the damage menu and we can look at it. And we can see how these additional damage modifiers start to stack up. Okay. So now we're going to head to this building here. Okay. And this is Bonecloak's Apothecary. We're familiar with the Bonecloaks. We rescued Balin from the Bibberbang trap in the Underdark. We did that a long time ago, and if you remember, we actually used the Noble Stalk to restore some of Shadowheart's memories. And I don't know if that's listed in here or not. Okay, I don't see it, but I'm not looking really hard either. We used the Noble Stock to restore some of her memories, so the interactions we're going to have down here are going to be slightly different. Here's an anti-hag support group poster. Have you been hexed by a hag? Join other survivors of the hag treasury at Baron's Coop. Okay, it looks like we've already seen that. Yes, help the hag survivors. That's something else we're certainly going to be looking at here in the lower city. We'll go into Bonecloak's Apothecary here. And here's Dareth and Balin.
Sorry. Didn't anyone teach you to sweep towards the door? Bonecloaks. Guess what you can before we have to shutter the place. If you came for Noblestock, you're out of luck. Last trip to the Underdark was a miserable failure. Won't be able to keep the lamps lit much longer. only place to find our bestseller. Noble stalks, this place is bread and butter. Milk and eggs too. Without it, we're sunk.
Okay, so if you gave the noble stock to Dareth, this interaction is much different. And Bonecloak's Apothecary is fully functioning, selling noble stock, all of that sort of stuff. And you will see
Go on then.
inside of her inventory is you will see her selling noble stock mushrooms up here. Now again, the other thing about, remember, Dareth carried over from Act 1. All the things that we sold to Dareth in Act 1 are going to be in her inventory now. They're still here. So if you accidentally sold something, you need to buy it back. You sold something for a build that you didn't think you were going to do and then want to try it, all that stuff's going to still be here. That's why in Act 1 and Act 2, if you can find vendors who are going to carry over to Act 3, it's always best to utilize them for your selling as much as you can, just in case you want to come revisit those items later on. So that's why her inventory looks like it's full of a bunch of stuff, because this is all stuff that we sold her in the Underdark. Now you will see 2, maybe 3 noble stocks in her inventory, which refresh every level up or long rest. Now the noble stock mushroom is actually really, really good. For a price that I think is 75 gold without any attitude adjustment. So with her attitude being up, it'd be half price, I think, of that. So somewhere around 30 to 35 gold, you can buy a noble stock. Now a noble stock is an ingestible, basically something you can eat, that restores all of your hit points and removes all negative conditions when you eat it. So it is a great way to have a full hit point restoration potion, basically, in your inventory to be able to bring everybody back up to full fighting strength if you get into a hefty encounter. Now, I obviously don't have that. That's one of the repercussions of using the noble stock to give Shadowheart some of her memories back, is that it carries all the way through here into Act 3 and has a repercussion. So keep all that in mind when you're going through your playthroughs, and that things that you do in Act 1 can very, very easily affect what happens in Act 3 if you haven't read up on what that is and planned accordingly. So just something to keep in mind. So for Dareth, there's not much that we want here. The noble stock, if she has them, is a great thing to buy. She does sell healing potions, which are really good, and she also will occasionally have a supreme elixir of arcane cultivation, which you can get an additional level 4 spell slot. But for us, that's about all she's going to have. The rest of her stuff, we don't need any of it. Balin.
It's Bonecloaks. I'm Balin. Hello. Nice to meet you. We sell all sorts of ingredients and goods.
Go on, Balin. Get on with it then.
So if you choose to restore Balin's memories, this whole thing is much different. You get to talk to Dareth and find out how unhappy she is now that Balin is back to his old abusive ways and all of that sort of stuff. And then again, like I say, if you give the noble stock to Dareth, this place is up and running and she's in charge as normal and she's able to sell you more noble stock. So that one simple action in Act 3, deciding what to do with the noble stock, can be a big deal and have repercussions here much later on. So inside of here, there are a few camp supplies that you can pick up. that are not marked as steel. Okay, and then you can make your way around the back here. And you have a greenhouse, which has quite a few more that you can pick up. If you're on an honor mode run, and you're using these to craft potions, this is an incredibly valuable place to be. You're picking up balsam and dagger root, as well as belladonna. So you're getting some good healing, some good poisons, and that sort of stuff in here. So it's a very, very good place to come to get some free ingredients for some potions. And like I say, you mix those with a transmutation wizard, where you're doubling the amount of potions you get when you craft one. These ingredients can become very, very useful. Now here on the table is a recipe for a greater healing potion. This is what I meant about balsam. So picking up one of the main ingredients for a greater healing potion, if you don't already have that recipe. I believe... Trying to remember... I'm trying to remember the alchemy key. But here we already have the potion of greater healing researched for us. But if you don't have it by now, this is a place to get it. And then here in this location, we have a hatch, and we're going to...
What a day.
There shouldn't be any detection cones, but we'll go into hiding anyway.
With ease.
Oh, our first nat 20.
All's well that ends not as bad as it could have.
And we can go down here into the basement.
No one stopped me yet.
Now again, the basement has a bunch of stuff to search that you can look through down here. For the most part, you're interested in two
Have to keep going.
different things here. And the first is this notice on the wall here.
Still alive, so that's progress.
That says preparing brews. Back off. So it kind of lets you know that there's something else here, and if you look through the at the mini map here, you can see that there's another room here, and we're going to utilize this lever that's kind of hidden back here to open that up. We're going to go in there here in a second.
Keep a blade close. Simple.
One. There it was. I heard it before I saw it. Philip jinxed us in the chat. That was his. That's his fault. Everybody, look at it in the chat. I am full inspirations, so I'll use one here for this. Yeah, I'm just kidding, chat. Just kidding, Philip, giving you a hard time. And here you have the counting house safe key number 3. You're going to be finding a few of these. there are a bunch of them around the city to find, and we're going to be leaving the counting house until much later on in the playthrough. But these counting house, vault, safe, and just counting house keys are something you want to pick up and find, and they're kind of scattered around in different locations. There's also some more crafting ingredients.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
And again, if you're in honor mode, you're looting everything down here. Every bottle, every mortar and pestle, everything as you go.
Swift as my feet can carry.
So now we'll make our way into their lab here. And in here, you're going to find a lot
They know their
of
mushrooms.
good
Perhaps they
stuff
should
for
expand
crafting.
their horizons. Too much time obsessing over fungi seems to leave them a bit, well, like them.
Okay, so what we're going to do to start this off is we're going to move everybody back here.
Few can spend a lifetime inhaling fungal spores without turning out a bit muddled between the ears.
Because you can see that we do have Bibberbang around here. And that Bibberbang is active. Okay. So we want to get rid of it. Can't reach that one. Over here. And that's going to give this time to dissipate. Okay, because if you do walk into Bibberbang, again, can have deleterious effects on us, especially with all these other elemental things happening out here. So don't get yourself into a situation. Oh, there's one more I forgot. Two more I forgot. But you don't have to worry about any of these candles because none of them are within range. The problem is if you're going out here and you're trying to hit those with a fire cantrip or something like that, then yes, things are going to explode. So you definitely don't want to do that. But this will give it all time to hopefully dissipate, and we can start looking at some of the other stuff in here. So we know about the rule of 3 extracts, and there are going to be some other things which aren't showing up on left alt. So be sure to pick those up while you're in here. This is another alchemy pouch. So your ingredients will automatically go into it. So like right now I'm using 10 pounds worth of carry weight for my alchemy pouch. If I want to send that off to camp and free up that 10 pounds, I can. And now my ingredients are going to go into this one.
Something good here.
Another alchemy pouch down here. Again, for the same thing. Okay, a letter here talking about how she knows that noble stock could cure her husband. She's just choosing not to do it because of who he is and what he's done to her in the past. Don't think this one's selectable. It's not. And then on the table here is a recipe for elixir of bark skin. if you don't already have it. While the Starian pick his way into this chest here. A little bit higher DC.
All right. What now?
And again, some good crafting ingredients down here that can come out of this chest.
Another step forward.
Oop, hold on just a second, everybody. Sorry, had to take a little break there. I forgot to put up the "Be Right Back" sign. My cats are trying to shut my PC off. One downside about the case I didn't think about when I built my PC was the fact that the power button's right on the top, and my cats just seem to gravitate toward it. Now here, this wooden box, it has some stuff in it, but you can't access it. You destroy the box, then you can grab those things that are in it. Okay, now those things that you picked up, there's no use for any of these. I don't believe. I don't think this is actually a... You know, that's actually... I might as well throw it and just see what happens. I haven't actually tested this. Yeah. They don't do anything. They're just something you can sell. Yeah, I know. I need to craft something for my PC to be able to do it. The case is just so pretty, though. I hate to jury rig something on top of it, but who knows? We'll see. And up here, you're always going to find a potion of speed. Again, very, very useful. And you have Balin's alchemical notes. He was trying to find a potion recipe here, and he was, you know, you can see he was not very nice toward her in his previous life. So if you've sided with him or you've given him the noble stock to cure him, you'll learn more about him in here. So Eagle Feather for Potion of Flying, very nice. The Beholder Iris is also really good. That's what gives you the Supreme Elixir of Arcane Cultivation. And the Elixirs of Vigilance, also really nice. Basically alert in a bottle, which is what comes from the Hook Horror hooks. So again, some really good crafting ingredients up here. And in this location that you don't want to miss. And again, there's a lot more to search and pick up down here for various other things. A lot of chests and all that sort of stuff down here you can pick up. But for us, we're not going to spend the time to go through it all.
Let's see what this does.
Okay, and we're done with Bonecloaks. Now, it's very possible that we're going to get an interaction when you approach this area over here. And you want to be prepared for that. So if you've got like the mark of the shifter, or things that are gonna, or spells applied that are going to help you pass a persuasion check here, you want to be prepared for that. Because I honestly haven't explored the trigger for this.
These things have stayed interesting.
But I want to be ready for it.
Pretty. My faith will guide me.
Is that blood? No, never mind. Don't waste a step.
Okay, good. So we're not running into it here yet. You can have an encounter with Counselor Floric here, and she will accuse you of having given up on Duke Ravengard. But I think that is really keyed by interactions in Worms Rock, which we have bypassed for now in this playthrough. It plays out, it's going to play out differently in the Bard playthrough because everyone's hostile there. So I don't think we should see her, but I wanted to be ready for it just in case. Now here, this is the Stormshore Armoury. You have two different vendors. You have a weapons trader and you have an armor trader here. And you certainly want to look at them both. So we'll look at their inventories real quick, and then we'll decide what's going to be useful for us here.
Very well.
Need something for defense? Or maybe offense? Either way, I've got what you need.
Okay, so here at Fitz the Firecracker, you have what is commonly accepted to be the best bow in the game, and that is the Deadshot. So the Deadshot reduces your number you need to roll a crit by 1. Now this applies to everything, not just using the bow. So if you're working on a crit build for somebody like Will with his Eldritch Blast, you can have him equip this, and even though he might not be proficient with it to use it, the only thing that's going to do is mean that he can't use the 2 proficiency unlocks at the bottom. And since it's not armor or shields, it's not going to affect his spellcasting ability, and it will still lower his number needed to roll a crit by 1. So this is how you get Will's crit chance or crit number down to be a 14, is by using the Deadshot and combining that with an Elixir of Viciousness, which lowers it by 1 again. And then the other things that you can get from Will. You can splash Champion as a fighter to drop his crit number by 1. There are 2 gear items, other gear items that allow him to do it that he can equip, and you can get this down to a 14. I think the max you can get it down to be is 13, I believe. It's been a while since I looked at it. But that's a huge crit range. That's 33% of your rolls are going to be crits. And that can be huge for a damage increase. The Keen Attack, the wielder doubles their proficiency bonus when rolling ranged attacks with this weapon unless they have disadvantage. So if you're not using this for like a crit hit will build, you can utilize this very, very easily for your Gloomstalker, Assassin, Rogue, Ranger combination. Because again, the crit hit chance is great, but you're also doubling your proficiency bonus onto your 2 hit. And since you're going to be doing sneak attacks, you're going to have advantage on those all the time anyway. And it being a +2 weapon certainly helps land all of those hits a lot more regularly. So now you're starting to look at the 98% chances to hit when you're coming at any target in the game from stealth. So the dead shot is certainly something that you want to look at. However, the thing to remember about the dead shot is, again, it's pricey. And you're going to find that is a common deal here in Act 3. So if we wanted to buy this, we would already be in the territory where we're getting really close to spending that 1,600 gold just on this one item here. Now, she has a few other things. The Flail of the Ages comes with Elemental Age. So this is a weapon that when it is charged with a certain elemental type, it also inflicts conditions that go along with that elemental type. So the Elemental Age here allows you to imbue it with acid, cold, or fire damage. And you're going to be doing an additional 1d4 damage for any of those types. Okay? But then also, you're going to be reducing their armor class by 2, making them vulnerable to cold damage, and or an additional 1d4 fire damage plus 1d4 fire damage per turn with the burning condition. So it can, and it also does tenacity, and at this level, the tenacity here is 5 bludgeoning damage. Tenacity goes anywhere from 1 to 5, normally in 1, 3, and 5 bludgeoning damage increments. So this is the highest level of tenacity that you're going to get in the game. So even when you miss, you're going to deal 5 bludgeoning damage with this weapon. So can be very, very useful, something you want to pick up. And if you're going to pick it up also, we're now 1,700 plus gold, so you're definitely in the range of upping her attitude to be able to buy it. The others are going to be +1s, if I remember right. Yes. She also does sell a good selection of arrows. Her loot pool for arrows goes into the very rare category, so you're going to find a lot of the slaying arrows in here, which is very nice. But also arrows of many targets, smoke powder arrows, all very nice. So she's probably somebody that we want to up her attitude with, just so we could pick up these 2 weapons, possibly some of the arrows, because there's going to be a lot of humanoids here in Act 3 to deal with. So we probably want to up her attitude anyway.
All of my wares are tried and true. Hells, some of them have probably already killed before.
And then we'll go right across the way here.
You in need of protection, friend? Huh. What am I saying? Everyone's in need of protection. Don't be shy. This armor can't keep you alive if it's sitting here with me.
And here we have one main option and a really good secondary option. So the first is the Armor of Agility. For your dex-based characters, or even for your characters who are just have a high dex because of their initiative, and you're focusing on other ways to deal your damage, the Armor of Agility is amazing. It's a 17 armor class medium armor. So right now we're at the WotC scale mail. If we compare these, you'll see they both have the exotic material trait. So our full dexterity modifiers going into our armor class, we are not getting disadvantage from our stealth ability checks, which means that you're much more likely to pass your stealth checks when you start out combat. The differences are the WotC gives you Ambusher, so you gain +1 to initiative rolls, where the Armor of Agility you get +2 to saving throws, which arguably right now in Act 3 is the much more useful thing, because we're going to be encountering a lot more spellcasters in here in Act 3. So the saving throw +2 is very nice. The big difference here also is you're going a medium armor that goes from a 15 armor class to a 17 armor class. So for your medium armor wearers, this is one of the, if not the best armor in the game. Now, if you look at the price, you see you're paying for it. Okay? At 4,600 gold right now for this one piece of armor, you're definitely going to pay for it. However, this takes Astarian's armor class from 21 to a 23. So it's a substantial increase in his defensive capabilities while not really losing anything. With his dex, he's already got a really high initiative roll. So losing 1 on it, sure, it's 5% less on your initiative roll, but gaining the +2 on saving throws, I think, at this point in the game more than outweighs it. The secondary thing here is the fact that he's always going to be selling shield +1s. These are a +3 to your armor class. Now, we already found one of those, but anybody who's wearing a shield, this can up your armor class by 1 over any other shield that you're going to find. Now, this does not have any additional aspects to it, whereas some of the other very rare shields and rare shields do, like Shield Bash and Shield of Devotion Aid and gaining an additional level 1 spell slot. But if you're at a point where those things are less important to you, the Shield +1 can just give you a straight boost to your armor class using your shield slot. So those are the two things that you're really interested in here. The rest are normal +2 items of various types in the game. So Scale Mail +2 is again a straight upgrade in armor class over WotC for him. But, or actually, I take that back, it's not, because Astarian is, his armor class has a +3 from Dex, and the Scale Mail here is limited to +2. But the Scale Mail +2 is your highest medium armor, limiting it to +2 Dex. So for us right now, we're very interested in the Armor of Agility for Astarian, and we probably don't need a shield, another shield +1. We've got one sitting here after the respec of our Paladin, but having another one, this is always another place to come and buy it if you need it. So both of these vendors we are interested in upping their attitude with.
Truth be told, I wear chainmail to bed these days. Oh, I've heard too many stories to take any chances.
So now with Astarian,
Tread carefully.
yeah, we just don't have access to it here, customer, or else I'd be talking about it.
Let's move. Best be on my way. Something's on my mind.
Because yes, Damon does sell.
Thou hast now a bosom companion. Take care that thou art not distracted on thy quest, seeking the comforts of the flesh.
Thank you,
Recall that in time
Withers, for butting into my
dost thou
business.
require, as thou did.
Okay, so again, all of our stuff here for Paladin remains the same.
You in need of protection from... Don't be shy. This armor can't keep you alive if it's sitting here with me.
So we will drop 400 gold here. Okay, and what was 4,600 is now 3,700. We're at persuasion plus 7, so we want to level that up to get it up to +9, and you'll see that drop even more once we've got this leveled up. But before we level up, we want to go do the same thing for fits.
Need something for defense? Or maybe offense? Either way, I've got what you need. All of my wares.
And now we'll quickly go through our level up again here. Okay, so we're just quickly running through this. Make sure I got that one right at least. And our last warlock level here. And I'm actually going to change this out for Counterspell. Having two sources of that is very, very useful. And then we start our fighter dip and a fighting styles defense. Okay, so now when we go back,
Careful. Most of my wares can take an
our persuasion's up to +9, so our discount's minus 127%. And now when we look at it, we're paying less than 900 gold for the dead shot. And only 341 for the Flail of Ages. So here, I'm definitely going to pick up the Humanoid Slaying Arrow. The Undead Slaying Arrow I'm also going to get. The Fiend Slaying Arrow. And the Construct Slaying Arrow here. Going to drop in some garbage that we've picked up. And we'll balance that out.
My weapons won't be beat. Tell your friends. Hell, tell your enemies if you like.
Easier to don some armor than learn to swing a sword.
And now what was 46 is now 3190. So we saved 1,400 gold just on this single purchase, minus the 400 that we gave him. So we saved 1,000 gold on this single purchase here by doing this. So this is one of the keys when you get into this act to be able to pick up all of the high-end gear you want is by really upping the attitude when it makes sense to do so. And in this case, it certainly makes sense to do so.
Truth be told, I wear chain.
And for that, we're going to be moving a few things around here. Okay, so the WotC will go back to camp. And then the last thing is, what do we want to do with the dead shot? Now, normally what happens at this point is if I have Will in the party, he normally gets it. If he doesn't, I swap out the dual wielding crossbows here for the dead shot. I start getting to the point where the damage numbers for both of these aren't really as impressive anymore when I'm comparing these. And the ability to hit two different people is very nice, especially when you combine that with critical hits and assassinate. But what becomes much more crucial here is the ability to hit those enemies to begin with. And while the +2 from the Hellfire Hand crossbow is certainly nice, the ability to lower my crit chance by 1 and the ability to add +2 plus my proficiency bonus to those attacks means that I'm going to be hitting the high-powered enemies that we're going to start encountering more often here. We're going to be finding that more and more as we go here. So I definitely want to swap this out. We may end up changing back between encounters and that sort of stuff, but for now, this is the way I want to outfit Astarion. And I want to look at something here. Okay, so yeah, it's still not used. Oh.
Looking ahead.
Okay, so now we are kind of finished with the inventory stuff in this area of the lower city. So how about we go look at getting into a fight? So we're going to start our first one here with the murder target Cora. Now this has ramifications in doing this, and this is why I've skipped it up until this point, because once you do this, things are going to progress to a point where you're kind of locked into a certain series of events. You're not really locked in 100% yet, but you have certainly triggered an event here by going through Cora's murder target scenario. Now I want to look at our action economy, so we're still really good. So let's go over here.
One day I'll catch a break.
I wouldn't expect you to admit your nefarious allegiance. You lot are sworn to secrecy, aren't you?
Do that?
And we're going to make our way up to here. This is Cora Highberry and her husband. And they are having a wine tasting event. And Mesley is here that they are currently talking with. So let's go talk to Cora Highberry here.
I should speak up.
Why, hello there. We were just about to try some of Master Metzley's delightful wines. Would you care to join us?
Oh, they do look ever so tasty.
Ah, Mrs. Highberry, I prefer to conduct tastings individually, so I may assess your palate.
Call me Cora, Master Metzley. And I'm afraid I must insist on their joining us. Wine's no good without company, after all.
Okay, so I failed the medicine check here. The medicine check will let you know that the wine smells a little weird, and it will open up another dialogue option here at the start. But did you recognize anything about Master Mesley when you saw him? Cora's a murder target. Remember, we've learned in the past that the murderer is a dwarf dressed all in red. And that has been the common note amongst all of the encounters that we've had with him, or his victims. And Master Mesley is definitely a dwarf, and he's definitely dressed in red. So if you pick either of these two here, then Cora and her husband are going to die, and something else will happen. We're going to alert Cora that her life's in danger.
No. I must say, if this is a practical joke, it's not very amusing.
Why, a serial killer? Oh, that's terrible. Master Metzley, are you quite all right?
It was perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You have sullied it with knowledge, made it an unclean sacrifice. I will remember your face, and I will peel it from your skull should you interfere again.
Okay, and we're immediately going to get into a fight. Okay. Now, a couple of things happen at the start of this fight. Okay. The first is that Astarion rolled his initiative, and he's become displaced because of his cloak, and Dread Ambusher has triggered. However, some of the other members here have used Doppelganger on themselves to basically shift their appearance, and Dolor is somewhere in here. Okay? Now, there are currently 5 here, and they're all named Dolor. Okay? You can see that one is different from the others, though. Okay, that allows you to tell which one is the real Dolor. Now, what is going to happen here is that if you don't roll first, Dolor is going to attempt to Dimension Door out of here, and he has a very special version of Dimension Door in that he can teleport halfway across this entire map. It's basically a scripted way for Dolor to get out of this fight. He almost always rolls first, and he will always do that to start. Now, that Dimension Door can be counterspelled, and that means he will stay here But then what he will do is he will throw a Carabasan's poison at you, try and paralyze you, and he will use, again, a very special version of dash and disengage to run away. The game really does not want you to kill Dolor here. They want you to have an interaction with him later on. It's very similar to the hag fight, where the game really doesn't want you to kill the hag before she escapes through the fireplace. It's the same thing here. Now, you can kill Dolor. It does break one interaction a little bit later on, but it's not a game-breaking thing. It just looks a little, or the interaction is a little weird. But you can kill him here. I am specifically not going to kill him. I'm pretty sure Astarion could take him by himself right now. And he's sitting right up here. Astarion can get there because he does have Misty Step available to him. So he could get over there, and I'm almost positive that he could kill Dolor in this turn. I'm just not going to do that. I want to see this play out the normal way that the game intends you to do. So I'm going to focus on the other enemies around me here, because they all are going to want to roll very high in the initiative order. They have a huge bonus to it. So they're almost always going to roll before you in the first turn. So they have a multi-attack, so if you are, if you do get surprised here, then they can do multi-attacks against you. They're only armed with regular daggers, so the attacks aren't all that harsh at the level that we're at, but what makes them harsh is the action that they're going to do, and you're going to see it come up because I'm not going to have an opportunity with Astarion to avoid some of these. So what I'm going to look at here is seeing how many of these I can kill starting off. So thinking about how I want to play this. I think I'm going to leave this one here. Although I can reach them all. Yeah, I can reach them all from here. So actually, let's do that instead.
Bamboozle them. More skirt.
I have advantage here.
Let's do it.
Okay. I'm gonna get right up next to this guy here. And you'll see what their attacks are going to be here. Okay, so here's his Dimension Door. You can see he has boots of Dimension Door. And this is, like I say, a very special version of Dimension Door. He's going to teleport himself to Narnia from here, and you are not going to get the opportunity to attack him. You can counterspell this. The only time you can counterspell this is if you have somebody that ends up going before him in the turn order. If he goes first, then it doesn't matter if you have Counterspell available to your party. It's not going to trigger you as a reaction. For whatever reason, it's, like I say, a very special version of it. That on that very first action of the combat, you're not even allowed to Counterspell it. In this case, since Astarion rolled first, we now have the option to Counterspell it, but I'm not going to. Actually, I will throw in a Sonic Backlash here, because I don't know if he heals himself up before the next encounter with him, or not. Okay, and he's gone. Okay, there's the throw. Okay, here comes the ambush. All right. So once they change out of their doppelganger form, then anyone in an area around them gets the ambushed trait. And now they can do a multi-attack against you. And Gale and Shadowheart are paralyzed. And that's because of Carabasan's gift. Okay, so they threw Carabasan's gift, and that is an on-contact paralysis. So it hit both of them. So what we need to do here is make sure that whoever's going next, this one here, we take him out. We do not want him multi-attacking Gale or Shadowheart on this turn. Okay, and now remember, Baldur's Giant Slayer here, we have fire damage on this. Okay, so he's got 52 hit points. Could only miss on a 1, 2, or 3. Only miss on a 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now I'm at the point where, because Favorable Beginnings is gone, my Great Weapon Master is much more of a hindrance here. So he's got a high dex. So let's try and Pommel Strike. Okay. What's he got left? 36 hit points. I don't think... No, I won't be able to... Well... No, we're not going to react on that. We will... No, because we shouldn't need it. I'm just thinking here in my head. We won't react. So now that drops his dex bonus off his armor class. Makes him quite a bit easier to hit. Okay. And now we'll look and see what tacked on here. Okay, so if you look at the damage roll, you can see that we have 2d6 from slashing. It re-rolled that because of Savage Attacker. It added in our +4 from our +3 from the weapon bonus, +4 from our charisma modifier because we have an 18 charisma, a +5 from the strength modifier. That's because we have the Elixir of Hill Giant strength active. So that came from Baldur's Giant Slayer trait. And it added in the +10 from Great Weapon Master all in. The acid damage just rolls straight. The fire damage just rolls straight. And that's because neither one of those come from the weapon itself. This comes from the ring, and this comes from the gloves. Now, keep that in mind, because I specifically did this so that you would see how exterior damage sources do not add Baldur's Giant Slayer, the strength bonus in again. However, what we're going to do is we're also going to dip this weapon and or put the elemental damage back on it after we take a long rest from the Drakethroat Glaive, and you will see that that damage source adds in the +5 from Baldur's Giant Slayer again. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We're kind of illustrating how things are working here. So now I definitely want to make sure this hits. So I'm going to turn off Great Weapon Master all in. Okay, and now we'll get ready for Astarian's turn. And I want Astarian to be able to get a kill here. So I'm going to move him back. Okay, we're going to apply Hunter's Mark again. Boom goes the dynamite. And there's that plus or that -1 to critical hit.
In my opinion, we should have a steel watch in every Baldurian home. Why?
Didn't need it, rolled a 20 anyway. But yeah, you can see the damage rolls that went in on that. My dex modifier, the +2 from the bow, the +10 from sharpshooter all in, the +3 from arcane synergy, adding my spellcasting modifier as a ranger. That's why his wisdom is 16, is because that gives him a +3 bonus from that. And then plus the 5 from Hunter's Mark. And then obviously the sneak attack went in on top of that, adding 4d6. And he rolled pretty well, 19 out of possible 24. And then the force damage got added in because his gloves add 2d4 force damage to all sneak attacks. So, stacking damage is critical here in Act 3. It really is. So now you can go through here and you can pick up their weapons. And there's going to be a key here. A key to the front door of Candlehallow's Tombstone Shop. The Scarred Dwarf is a promising candidate for Unholy Assassin. Though he is crude, his methods are artistic and even innovative. He has set up a deadly wine festival to eliminate his next target. I, for one, will be observing it closely. Shalar Cole. And you're going to be learning much more about this as we go through the Investigate the Murders questline. And one of them didn't use Karabasan's gift. So we've picked these up before, and you've now seen what it does. It's a throwable poison that when you throw it, just like Alchemist Fire does, in an AoE around where it lands, it has the possibility to paralyze a target for 2 turns. So it's very, very nice to be able to AoE crowd control in a small area grouped up enemies. So it's a very powerful potion to have. So yes, poison, right. All of your coatings that you put on your weapon, or all of your damage that you elementally infuse onto Baldur's Giant Slayer, they all are going to proc Baldur's Giant Slayer bonus, strength bonus again. So yes, if you coat your weapon with poison and you have it infused with elemental damage from the Drakethroat Glaive, then you're going to add in +5 on each of those damage sources. And that takes you from a +1d4 bonus for, say, fire damage that you infuse it with. It's going to take that from a 1d4 to a 1d4 +5. So now instead of 1 to 4 damage, you're dealing 5 to 9 damage on it. So or 6 to 9 damage. So it becomes a much larger damage increase because of how it procs. So now we can go in here and we can talk to Cora.
Have a word.
I still can't believe... Why would anyone want to kill me? Thank you for saving us.
They're going to give you a good chunk of gold for saving them. Okay, it's always 1,000 gold, basically. Now, for their home, what I want to do
Trust no one.
is show you the basement.
On my way. On the hunt. Quick and quiet.
Okay, DC 15. Ooh, that's gonna be a big number. 31.
Have a lot on my mind and...
Okay, and now you're in their wine tasting room, so to speak, down here. There's a bunch of stuff. None of this is going to be marked steel once you get down here, so feel free to look around to your heart's content.
I wonder what the next move is.
I believe I have a Historian with the Sentinel Shield. I do.
That might be worth a look.
There are 2 perception checks here, and they're pretty hard. It's a DC 20, he rolled a 19, and a DC 15, he rolled a 10. Okay. So you have the floorboards here, which gives you Highberry's Strongbox key. Then you can take the landscape painting off the wall, and here's their strongbox. In here, you're always going to find an elixir of universal resistance, which we've picked up a bunch of them from the rat in the Flaming Fist barracks. But always good to have another one. Universal resistance to all damage, and a potion of flying in here as well.
I've got a long road ahead.
Now in here, again, a bunch of stuff to pick up. There's all sorts of stuff on these tables. There's camp supplies. All sorts of stuff to be able to pick up in here.
With haste. What's in here?
There's always a couple of healing potions in this rack here. And then you have this back room here, and again we want...
My faith protects me.
Watch your back. One step at a time. Be careful.
And he had a successful perception check.
For a skeleton key.
And in here is just another chuck of gold and a gold ingot, which again sells for quite a bit. Again, more stuff that you can pick up. There's a little bit more gold just scattered on the ground.
Can't give up now. I need to find a way forward.
Okay, but that's their basement.
I'll give it a shot.
Now I may get an attitude coming out of here. Yeah, didn't, so. So now, what does that do? as far as the quest line goes. So we saved Cora from the killer disguised as a wine merchant. Figaro Pennygood is next on the target list. We need to find him before the killer does. And this is what I mean by it starts you down a particular road. Because this is the only murder target where Dolor is actually here. All the other murder targets on this list, he's not there. So you can warn them and they just get warned. Nothing happens. However, now we have a quest marker that's popped up right next to the murder target Figaro. So Dolor is making his way here. And we don't want to take long in getting down there. And by long, I mean long rests. You can walk around all you want. There's no in-game timer that's counting down like there is at Joaquin's Rest, where the whole place will burn to the ground in, 10 minutes time or something. Here you can walk around wherever you want. It's based on long rests, so we want to make sure we head this way. And if we want to rescue Figaro, we do not have to rescue Figaro. We can let him continue on, and when we get there, Figaro's going to be dead. That's going to advance the quest again, and into the next sequence of events. So this is what I mean by you're kind of locked into something now, in that at some point you need to go over there if you want to save Figaro. And when you save Figaro, it's going to advance this quest again. And you're going to be kind of proceeding down the quest line of investigating the murders, which ties in with the murder tribunal here, because all of these people on this list are the targets of ballast murderers. Okay? So that's kind of where we are with this and what we're doing. What I want to, but we have a little bit of time here. So I don't need the advantage anymore. The Sentinel Shield is why this is why I had that equipped prior to the Dolor fight, so that I could try and get Astarion to roll first, so I could illustrate that. Otherwise, I don't need it when I'm just walking around with Astarion. I have perception available on other people, but for right now, if I'm getting into a fight, the Sentinel Shield's not what I want. I want him to be able to dual wield his attacks here instead. That was specifically on there exactly for that encounter, but now I don't need it, so I'm going to get his hit points up again.
Still breathing, despite everything.
And we have been speaking about the Ballas murderers. Okay, and we're going to continue on that in that same vein here. And we're going to head back down this way. This here is Sorcerous Sundries. There's a lot to do in there. We're not going to do it right this instant. Hold on, I just got a phone call. I need to send a text because this person's very important.
You should start your own opinion column.
I can do that. I have loads of opinions.
I was joking. You really are that interesting.
Okay, hold on. This might be important. Waiting for a text back. I may have to take a break here real quick, but we'll continue on until I get a text back. Okay, so this is Sorcerous Sundries. Like I said, there's a lot going on here, and we don't want to spend our time on that right this instant. So we're going to make our way down around it.
Breathe deep and move.
Which is it?
Okay, I can stay with you here. Just found out I can call this back afterwards. Okay. Alright, sorry for the interruption, but when I deem it important, that's always going to take precedent, and that person really is. So we're going to make our way around Sorceress Sundries here. And we see a quest marker where we can investigate the suspicious toys. Now, when we come around here, we're going to see more results of the murder spree. You can talk to everybody here. There's no quest associated with it or anything like that. But the tiefling's parents are dead. And this is, again, more fallout from the murder spree that's been happening here. Now, this building here is Felogyr's fireworks, and there are a few different ways to get in there.
Probably just a dead cat.
Okay, and you can see the fireworks sign out front. There's a door here that you can pick your way into. We're going to unlock this waypoint.
The broadsheet's gone to pot ever since I left.
This is the Heapside Strand waypoint. The main entrance is up here. Okay. Then you can also see that there's a third story. So, however you want to think about this, whether it's the European version of ground floor, first floor, etc., the game considers this the ground floor, this as the basement, and this as the well, that's how it would be considered normally, and the first floor. I think the game actually considers this the first floor, this the second floor, and this still is the basement. But we'll see. There are 3 floors to this building. And we're actually, I take that back, there are 4 floors to this building. Because what you can't see in this is the exit on this floor up here. So we can walk into this first floor without any problems. We can walk onto the next floor up without any problems. If you go into the basement or you go into the top floor, those are restricted areas. And you're going to get, if you're seen, you are going to get engaged in combat. All right? So inside here, remember or investigate the suspicious toys. Arthur claimed he was getting instructions and supplies from Felogyr's fireworks on the lower city we should investigate. So let's go talk to Avery.
Faces, hands, and eyebrows. How do we protect them?
Watch for wind direction. Put on your gloves. And a light at arm's length.
Very good. And what does Uncle Felogyr always say?
Once it's lit, you commit.
Excellent! Now remember, Felogyr's fireworks accepts no liability for singed nails, toasted eyelashes, loss of limbs, scalded torsos, or blown off heads. Now, you there. What can I do for you?
You feel an all too familiar squirm in the recesses of your mind. He has a tadpole.
Aha! A fellow friend of Gortash. Praise the Absolute. I have a special sample, available just for you, if you wish. This one will be very useful against any and all enemies of Gortash. Be sure to be clear of its explosion area. Please enjoy responsibly, and nowhere near this establishment. Is there anything else I can do for you? Aha! You must be Arthur's friend. Keep your voice down. Yes, he's just upstairs. but only one flight. If you get to the top, you've gone too far. Browse as irresponsibly as you like. Just don't tell the other customers.
Okay, so we received 3 items. Gave us a arrow of roaring thunder, a smoke powder arrow, and another smoke powder bomb. All very good things to have. Now from him...
Have you tried the Lanternese candles? Or perhaps the delicate simplicity of a perfectly crafted torch is more to your taste? Of course. Browse responsibly now.
You can browse through his wares. He's going to sell some dyes here, but he's also going to sell 3 different fireworks. They all do the same thing. They all do 3d6 fire damage and possibly inflict color spray. And color spray means that the target has disadvantage on attack rolls, and any of its ranged attacks or spells are reduced to only a 3-meter radius. So they become blinded and very, very useful. So he sells some items, just like we saw the Woglims in Arthur's basement that did this. He sells these items here that you can utilize. And 3d6 fire damage is nothing to sneer at. It is an action, and most of the time at this point, we're past that. But being able to have a supply of these to, at range, initiate an explosion can be useful again. So if you don't have a firebolt cantrip or something like that, you can use these to blow up oil slicks or webs or smoke powder barrels or something like that from range. So can be useful, and he does sell them here.
Once it's lit, you commit. And if it's not a firework, do whatever you like.
And the last dialogue option...
Have you tried the Lanternese candles? Or perhaps the delicate simplicity of a perfectly crafted torch is more... Oh, heavens no, not with him. I work for him, as I do for all of my most loyal customers. Fabulously charismatic man, though. Tips well. What are you really asking, friend of Gortash? Browse responsibly now. And for God's sake, have a little discretion.
Okay, if you push things too far with Avery, things can be hostile here. So behind the guard here, we can go through the door.
You won't listen to him, kid. We've got you. You tell us what happened.
And up here, we have Clerk Tamara.
Another friend of Felogyr? All right. Just remember the top floor's off limits, password or not. Looking to buy a little something extra, then? That could not be less of your business. Smoke powder in its earthier forms. For purists only.
And here you get access to all of those explosives that he was selling, or that he gave us downstairs. So you have access to other things, the nausea spore grenades, as well as crafting supplies for them. You can buy smoke powder bombs here. Also some coatings. Malice is very, very nice, being able to blind and poison a target at range. The purple worm toxin to be able to long-term poison damage somebody at range. But yeah, the smoke powder arrows are the thing here. Again, all smoke powder arrows are very useful, but smoke powder bombs also extraordinarily useful. So I'm just going to pick up these, and that's it.
Don't jostle any of the merchandise on your way out.
Now, from here, things get interesting. What I mean by that...
Employees only, past dear. If you're expecting any packages, they'll bring them down to you.
Okay, is that the stairway going up here is being guarded. Now, the detection cones allow you some leeway here. And I say some.
Well, hello. Move
Direct me. Certainly.
A long way to go still. No time for dally.
Okay, so here are a couple of things that you absolutely want to do. The first is I'm going to wait for Robin to turn around and go back. The detection cones up here get a little weird, and you can see when Robin moves, things get a little weird. And I'm going to drop a save. Now, this is not so I can restart this if something goes awry. This is because of a potential bug with how this thing goes. So, with how this combat's going to work. So, I want to make my way up to this floor, and it said hiding failed on that, but he's still in hiding. So not entirely sure if it failed or not. Okay, see, that's, I guess what's happening here is I'm crossing a detection cone somehow here. And it's being very, very weird about it.
Wizard, not a cat burglar.
Yeah. See, that's what I meant. The detection cones are a little strange. Okay. And now, because hiding was not successful, I'm going to go ahead and trigger this myself. Because I'm not entirely sure, like I say, what's going to happen here. So I'm going to trigger darkness, and I want to get this placed so that I'm getting one of them at least in here so that the combat triggers. I would love to be able to get sneak attacks with the Starian here, but I think because the hiding failed on two of them, I think the combat's going to start on my next turn. So like I say, I would love to get up here with Astarion and start this off. I'm going to start it off here, like this. Okay, so I still did get a surprise round out of this, which is nice.
I can't waste any more time.
Okay, and the darkness is obstructing the detection cones, which is nice also. What I would actually really like to do, though, is kill this one here. So let me just do some planning here and see how I want to approach this. So both he and Astarion have it. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if this pops me into combat or not. It does not. Okay, so I want this guy to go away. Okay, so he's got 13 left. This is a 50-50 chance for a kill. Perfect.
I wonder if the gods are watching me.
Now the detection cones. Hopefully I don't get seen here. I did not. And he's a long way up. He's a really long way up. But because we do have surprise here... That's a crit. That's a crit. Just all the crits. Oh, it's so fun to watch. Might as well paralyze her. I'm gonna move Astarion out of the way.
Slaughter. Well, so much for peace.
Let's spill some blood.
Actually, that was
go from here?
Not a great use of action economy.
Time to kill.
I need to be getting sneak attack on this.
Creator, destroyer. I can't even catch my breath.
All right. And we got that went really, really well for us. So we're going to move everybody out of the way up here because nobody downstairs actually decided to come up here and investigate what was happening. That very, very rarely happens.
That's a friendly looking
Okay, most of the time they hear the commotion up here and they aggro. The problem is if if Avery aggroes from down on the ground floor. This is why he saved, because if he joins the fight, then sometimes down on the first or the ground floor he will dash, and then the game will sit there and kind of flip out on how it needs to path to get itself up here, and it will pause. Sometimes it will come out of that pause and he will actually dash and take a path to get up here. Sometimes it won't. It would just sit there and think about how best to make its way all the way up here through multiple floors, and the game will crash. So before you go into this combat, always save, just in case something or that bug takes effect. Because if it does, it's unsaved progress. Nothing's going to recover from it. The game won't save automatically. So you could lose any progress up to that point. And it can literally sit there for 5 minutes. So you'd be doing nothing, waiting for it to see if it would work. And if you do decide to use the task manager to exit out of it or something like that, all of that progress is gone if you didn't save beforehand. So make sure you drop a save before you initiate the combat up here, just in case that happens. Now they are red, so if I pop into their detection cones and get seen, then yes, they are going to aggro on me, but they are not aggroed right now. So I'm actually going to kind of prep for that, I think. Can I?
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
I don't think I'll be able to hit her from here. I can't. Which means I'm gonna have to cross this really weird red section of the stairs here, which I don't trust at all.
I was
so
trying to concentrate.
I'm gonna do this with the Starian instead. Because I don't know what's going to happen when I cross this threshold. Yeah, see, the detection cones are just so weird. Now, from here, I believe it's Clerk Tamra that sees up the stairs. Yes. So we're going to attempt to get a surprise round on her. Okay, so he's going to have to move a little bit farther in. But again, even with Sharpshooter all in here, he's almost guaranteed to hit. So we'll see if he passes his stealth check when he moves down the stairs a little bit farther to get this hit off. And see if he can trigger a surprise round. Okay. So he did not trigger a surprise round. I don't believe. He did not. Because he did pass the hide check, I believe. No. So he passed one of them. He did not pass the other one. So I didn't think that her detection cone was up here, but it must have been. So hopefully I can deal with these two. See, there's her detection cone. That's iffy on whether or not I should have... Well, there's a little red dot over here that might be her. Like I say, the detection cones in this area are really, really buggish.
Make it hurt.
This should work. On my way.
Okay, so everybody else, and again, more buggy detection cones. That was probably that little thing there. Everybody else is now in combat, and you'll get to see what happens with Avery here. This whole combat may reset here in a second. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna move everybody back into this room though.
This is no fun at all. Best think ahead, or I'm lost. Have to keep going.
Let's have some carnage.
And here we go. We'll see if he's bugged out. See what I mean? And this is all the pathing in the game. It's trying to figure out how to path to get itself up there. So one more instance of the pathing in this game causing issues. He's the only one it happens with, though. I think we're okay for this turn. See, everybody else dashes from down there just fine. It's just Avery, for whatever reason that is. And, ooh, you really should not have come up here facing that direction.
Time for a new approach.
Yeah, you really should not have come up facing that direction. You do not want to give me an opportunity to go into hiding. That is a massive mistake. So where's he at? He's down below. His next dash is probably going to take him somewhere here. If he actually does the dash and then he moves, you're not bugged. Okay, so we're probably not bugged now. And you see, that one was a lot quicker than the last one. If he does a dash and then he doesn't move, you're probably bugged. Oh boy. Again, you're stopping in, well, his detection cone, or her detection cone might be getting me. Yeah, because his detection cone is right there. Hers is probably right there, though. So I don't think I'm going to be able to sneak down there and get him. So I'm going to use this ranged. Well, I would really like to add, because I can add sneak attack damage instead. So we're going to hide here.
Yes.
65% with sharpshooter all in. I'm willing to risk it.
Let's go.
last time, hopefully. Uh-oh. Okay, there's the dash. Please move. Okay. I think we're okay. Because I can kill him this turn. Okay, now he's going to dash up the stairs. Oh, he's going to do a ranged attack on me. Well, that was a mistake. Okay.
It's bright.
Oh, didn't need that. Oh, didn't need that either. Rolled a 4 and a 3. All I had to do was roll like an 8, I think, or 7. All right, we'll help you out. This detection cones looks weird. Okay. I want to kill Avery, though. I don't want him to possibly bug this thing out anymore. Oh, come on. Give me the tip of his cap. Okay, there we go.
Knees are starting to ache. Of course. Time for a cull.
Starian still has movement left, so let's provoke the attack of opportunity here while he's displaced. Perfect.
Time to move. Surprised you spotted me.
Survive this.
And now Shadowheart's not going to be able to get an attack on him, I don't think. Oh, she can see him there. Good. Nope. She can hit with the cantrip. Yep, she can't hit with that. Can she hit? Nope. I'm afraid if she moves any farther out there, she's going to trigger it without any damage. Oh, now she can't hit with the cantrip either. Okay, now I'm good. So I did give him one more chance to possibly bug out here. Hopefully we're alright. Oh yeah, you are definitely getting that counterspelled. He's not about to damage me because that's counterspelled. Why did... Nope, I'm alright. Nope. Did I not click Counterspell? Did I not click that? I'm confused. I am really, really confused. I'm gonna have to go look that up. I'm starting to think, I think this is the second time I've seen this. Because I think I've seen this on another AoE spell that was cast where I wasn't able, because Counterspell, how it's supposed to work, and again, this is how the description here reads, but this is also from 5e rules. If you cast Counterspell at the same level, or your Counterspell was being cast at a higher level than the spell that's being cast, it automatically succeeds. There's no saving throw against it, there's no way to avoid it. If your Counterspell is lower, if I'm casting Counterspell at level 3 and they're casting a level 4 spell, then I have to roll against his DC to prevent it. Okay? And the difference in the spell level makes that roll harder to pass. But Fireball is a level 3 spell. I cast Counterspell.
I won't give in.
From my Warlock, using a Warlock spell slot here on my Paladin, which is level 3, that should have automatically succeeded. There's no way that Fireball should have hit. So I think I've seen this before, though. I think I saw somebody else cast an AoE spell. I think it was Hunger of Hadar, where I tried to counterspell it, and the counterspell didn't work. And I'm starting to wonder if it's a problem with multi-class spell slots, where one's Warlock and one's not. Because I've had Counterspell work all the time, utilizing like pure spellcasting slots. I've also had it work using pure Warlock spell slots where you don't have any other types. But I think I've seen it fail twice now where I have a mixture. So I'm gonna have to go look up some more of that. But either way, that spell never should have landed. That never should have occurred. And I forgot about that. Actually, I didn't forget about that. I just didn't expect that that was going to happen. I'm doing fire damage because I have the Flawed Helldust gloves on. So that fire damage applies to my longbow as well. I did not hit the smoke powder barrel behind him. I specifically targeted Avery. Now, I'm wondering if somehow killing Avery caused him to explode for some reason. Yeah, see lots of explosions here. Here's Avery. Okay. So...
Probably just a dead cat.
yeah, I have no idea why...
Maybe a few dead cats.
Yeah, see, here's where they all started. Because here's the initial attack against him. Okay, he was hit for piercing damage, he was hit for acid damage, and for fire damage. I get all of that. Why did the smoke powder barrel receive a burning condition? That I don't get. Because it wasn't... I didn't start burning Avery. He didn't have the burning condition. He took fire damage, yes, but he was not set on fire. Now, if you give somebody the burning condition can spread to adjacent objects within that 1.5 meter melee range. He didn't get burning out of this. He just took fire damage. But somehow the smoke powder barrel took the burning condition, and that set off the world. And that's what all the rest of this damage here is from. So again, buggy stuff here. This is a great source of smoke powder barrels, or it would be normally. This would be a great place to pick up. I think there's 12 smoke powder barrels up here that you can pick up, send to your camp, and use them for barrelmancy later on. This thing, I guess there was just a bunch of stuff wrong with this. But that's going to complete the Investigate the Suspicious Toys quest. You found out that these were Banites up here. They had their names even said Fist of Bane in some of them. And that stopped them from distributing the smoke powder explosive across the city. So we've done what we wanted to do. However, a bunch of unintended consequences here. Which, honestly, none of it should have happened. None of it should have happened. So the Infernal Mace, what I was talking about earlier with the Hellbeard Halberd that you can buy down at the Stormshore Armoury, the Infernal Mace is one of the other few weapons that deals poison damage by default. It's part of the weapon itself. So that poison damage, if you're using it to trigger on poison gear conditions, this is another one of the few weapons that can do it. This is the only one that you can use, or one of two that you can use one-handed. And this is the highest damage version of it that you're going to get. Remember, disregard the acid and the fire. But it's adding +3 poison, and it can possibly poison its target. So this is another one of those weapons that if you're putting together a poison build, this is one that you would like to be able to get. Now, all of these blown up containers up here,
Wish I had a bag
you're going to have to walk around because the debris everywhere makes left alt a little buggy. And here you have the Fireworks Workshop key. And there's all sorts of keys here on Avery. Remember the counting house keys? Well, here's another vault key that you can get from him. And you also pick up a Mind Flayer Parasite, and there's a letter. This is from Gortash. Okay? But do... I think this is actually supposed to be do not allow the production of smoke powder to flag, because flag would be to wane. No one will question a fireworks shortage. Oh, so they do want it to. So because he's done it, they want to stop production of smoke powder so they can use it for other things and just claim it's a fireworks shortage. But you're also going to pick up Squidgens, Woglums from him. Again, mostly useful to sell. And a bunch of plate armor here, which is always good to sell. So then I like to go kind of walking around in these. Okay, so there are a couple of smoke powder barrels that we'll be able to get, so it looks like 3 of them maybe. It's a far cry from the 12 or so we could get. And there's a bunch of smoke powder bombs up here you can pick up. Okay, another infernal mace here. The ledgers let you know all the stuff that they have produced for Gortash. And one of them lets you know, actually I'll go read it. Here. Oh no, this is it, right here. This lets you know that they've installed a self-destruct element in something called the Iron Throne. We're going to learn more about that a little bit later. And we are encumbered. That'll do it.
Oh, lovely little pick-me-up.
Okay, now down here we can search Clerk Tamara. And we're going to gain Purple Worm Toxin. Also a note here, talking about Arthur, their toy maker friend. And now downstairs. Now nothing down here is marked as steal. Now that they're dead, you can take everything. And there's a bunch of these boxes of fireworks. If you examine these are now 8d6 fire damage, with the possibility of inflicting color spray on a target as well. So they weigh 26 kilos, I think, is, since I'm all in metric here. So they weigh quite a bit, but you can pick these up just like you can the smoke powder barrels. Play Ring Around the Rosie some more. And then you can take these fireworks, and just like the smoke powder barrels, you can send them off to camp. So there's a bunch of explosives that you can pick up here. And they are very, very useful when it comes to certain encounters. And we might actually be illustrating at least one of those in this playthrough. So I'm going to pick all of these up. Going to search all the fireworks display cases because I'm going to just go sell all of this stuff off. I'm not going to keep any of it. Okay, and I believe that's the last one, and now we have access to the basement here. Okay, so we can head down here. Actually, I didn't want to do that, but we're okay.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
I want Astarion to put the Sentinel Shield back on. Because I honestly can't remember where it is. There it is.
Someone doesn't like visitors.
Oh, roll a 1. Can't fail this check. It's a trap disarm. If I cancel out, it's going to go off. And I definitely don't want it going off down here. You can see why you don't want it going off down here. And I can't remember if there's another one or not. Doesn't look like it.
Go.
Okay, so Astarion's got 250, so let's go around and start picking these up.
What have we here?
This door is the door that leads you outside. This was the red door that was lock-pickable from the outside that we saw earlier. To carry all of those around. Some of these boxes you'll be able to pick up, and I think there's a couple that you can't. Like, I don't think you can reach this one. Can't jump up there. You can use something like telekinesis or something probably to get rid of it or to bring it down here. Now if you left alt, you can see there's a lever back here. It's going to open up this back room.
Should be easy.
This chest I believe is higher. Nope, it's not. Let's roll another now 1. Roll a banishment. I'm not going to loot everything down here. But there is a bunch of stuff to be looted. Okay. So, we'll take the Alchemist Fire.
Oh dear. Someone's left a trap out for us.
And I want to bring Shadowheart back.
Have to keep pushing.
For guidance.
You need some support.
Jeez. The rolls, chat, the rolls. And here are more smoke powder barrels. So I think there's 7 more down here. of 8, because there's one in the... Oh no, 9.
A little
I don't think I've
souvenir.
picked that one up before. So this is a good place in Act 3 for your baromancy stuff. Now the reason the button is here is because outside there is a way you can get in here if you wild shape. You can crawl in through this hole in the wall and get into this room. Press the button to get out, loot all of this, and make your way upstairs.
All's well that ends not as bad as it could have.
Okay, so we have 15 minutes left here, and we are finished for the most part here in Felogyr's Fireworks. Okay, that's this building now complete. If we head down this way, we're going to have a conversation.
If not over, then through.
Not to mention the parchment quality of the Gazette.
But I instead, and I want to head down here to the shore first. And
Watch your back. Don't touch me.
I got plenty.
There is work to do.
This is just so I can delay my long rest.
Is that blood? No. Never
Okay,
mind.
so we're going to make our way down here to the shore. And I want to...
The air is ripe with magic.
What am I to do?
Please, kind
No
sir,
time to
can you
rest.
spare a few coins to feed my son? He's sick and likely to die. Please, sir. Oh, please.
Smells tasty.
It should be okay on initiative, even without the shield. I rolled 14.
We've seen the ugliest things yet.
Okay, and you get an ambush by Salgan down here. And the Salgan we've seen briefly before. We're going to see much more of them a little bit later on. The important thing about them is that they all just came out of the water. So for 2 turns, they're all wet. Now you've got hunters, you have regular Sahaugen, and you've got champion out here. Okay. Now, what makes them dangerous is a couple of things. First, they all have extra attack. Okay. The ranged attacks that they're going to do, there are quite a few ranged attackers in here, so that can hurt really bad. And then they all have scenting blood. So when they see a wounded creature, they go into this blood frenzy condition, which means they have advantage on melee attacks against any target that doesn't have all of its hit points. Alright, so if you get hit during this encounter, if anybody takes a hit and they can see you take a hit, things can get quite a bit harder here. And I want to try and capitalize on that. So
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
I'm going to move Shadowheart.
No time to dally.
I hope she can get there. You can. And now with Astarion, I'm going to start laying out some damage here, and I'm going to try and eliminate some of the ones that roll high if I can. So the Sahuagin Hunter there and the Sahuagin Hunter down here rolled the highest. So the two ranged characters down at each end. So I think I only probably have shots here. So they are vulnerable because they're wet. So they are vulnerable to lightning and cold. I don't want to hit him. I don't know if that's going to hit him or not. He's not in this fight. They won't target them. I think I'm going to... Boom goes the dynamite. I'll take that. The problem here is going to be that I don't know if I'll have enough to kill him straight out. Okay. Never mind. Let's make sure that this hits. Okay. And now the detection cones are disrupted because of the darkness. Here.
Where my eye is itching. On my way.
And now, let's see. I don't think... Well, maybe I can. These two are always problematic for a lightning bolt. There we go.
I miss this. Sometimes the only way out is through.
Okay, and Shadowheart. What do we have left? I think I'm just going to leave her in here for now. Actually, you know what we will do? We'll reset darkness. Just to get it farther out. Alright, well, good luck fighting in there.
Just like old times.
Jeez. Is just devastating. It's just so devastating.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
Okay, so I'm going to move my Paladin up. I don't think Astarian's armor class is too far behind it. Yeah, with 21. I'm going to move my Paladin up here in front, though, so we can take a hit from the champion. Okay, you can knock them back into the water, but it doesn't kill them when you do it.
Mistra Rill.
That shouldn't cause a cold damage in a radius around him.
My honor.
Okay, a Ray of Frost cantrip causing 28 damage.
Need to act fast.
Perfect.
What are these things?
Thank you for cutting those creatures down, truly. Gods know what would have happened if you weren't here.
And you get a reward from the fisherman down here. We got a level up. So we are ready for max level. And that gets us to a great point to end today's live stream. We are going to start out next live stream by reaching our max level. We will finish out all of our builds here. We will not be locked into those builds. We will be able to change them up as need be. Because of the different, especially when we get to the different quote-unquote boss encounters that we're going to have through this. But that's going to be a very interesting place for us to be. And this is normally where you end up level 12 if you have been studious in completing the side quests. You're going to end up here in the lower city being level 12, which is very, very useful because if you can be max level before you deal with things like Cazador's Palace or the Steel Watcher Foundry or the Sorcerer's Sundries with Leroican, then you have a much better time of dealing with those high-powered enemies. We aren't dealing with the House of Hope right now and that sort of stuff anyway, but we are going to have to be dealing with the Steel Watch Foundry here coming up pretty soon. So being max level gives us a huge leg up on those encounters. So off stream, what I'm going to do is take care of a little bit of inventory management, but not much. There's not a whole lot to do here. I'm going to loot the Sahagin down here and pick up what few items that they have. There's nothing in particular that's special. And then I'm going to go drop my shapeshift and sell these items to get rid of them so we can get rid of the carry weight. And then I'll make my way back down here and we will get ready to start off next week with a level up. So, as always, thanks everybody for being here. I always appreciate it. I love the interactions that I have with my community because, as always, without my community support, none of this would be possible. So this is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.